Good evening, viewers. You all must have watched Urta Punjab or at least heard about it. Now, some people may have had issues with the fact that the state was being named and state was being defamed over a story that was about drug abuse. Well, honestly speaking, the movie wasn't very far away from the reality. The drug menace of Punjab is worsening. Yes, you heard it right. Congress government that came to power on the promise of cracking the whip on the drugs nexus, especially the nexus between Netas, police and the drugs mafia, hasn't really managed to do much in the past 1.5 years. Here is how things stand right now. 23 people have reportedly died in the state of Punjab just in the month of June, allegedly due to drugs overdose. Families are mourning the loss. Young lives lost, their parents shattered, families broken. Experts say an entire generation has been damaged, destroyed with this drug addiction. So much so that the citizens have come out again on streets. The visuals on your screens are those of the protests that have been held in the past few days. Chitte de Virod Vich Kala Hafta. That's what the protest was called, Black Week, to protest against drugs or heroin abuse. The tagline was, Maro ja Virod karo. Either die or speak up against drugs. That's how desperate the situation has become in Punjab. And that's our big debate tonight, because Captain Amrinder is now suggesting death penalty for not just the drug mafia, those who produce and smuggle, but also for the drug peddlers. Death penalty for the first-time offenders, not even the serial offenders. Is that really the way to go forward? Or has the government that has otherwise failed to crack down on the drug menace now just resorting to tall claims and politics and suggesting that the centre come out with a new rule instead of taking some action itself? That's the big debate tonight.
April 2017, Punjab Chief Minister Amrinder Singh promised to crack down on the drug menace with an iron fist.
गुटका साहब ਨੂੰ ਚੱਕ ਕੇ ਸੌਂ ਖਾਣੇ ਅੱਜ ਕਿ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਗੱਲ ਇਹ ਜੋ ਨਸ਼ਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਹੈ ਜੋ ਆਮ ਆਦਮੀ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ 4 ਮਹੀਨਿਆਂ 'ਚ ਮੈਂ ਖਤਮ ਕਰ ਦੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਇਹ 4 ਹਫ਼ਤਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਦੇ ਲੱਕ ਤੋੜ ਕੇ ਛੱਡੂਗਾ
51 weeks later, the crisis has far from abated, and the Chief Minister is pushing for the harshest punishment possible to deal with drug peddlers.
In the last few days, there has been a spurt in deaths because of drugs.
Punjab is the first state in the country to make such a recommendation. But with around 23 drug-related deaths in just the last 1 month, the government has been under tremendous pressure. But can death penalty be the solution?
Maybe the situation in Punjab has reached such a alarming state that the Chief Minister has recommended it. But as I said, on principle, I'm not in favor of death penalty.
कत्ल हो जाते हैं, कत्ल की मौत की सज़ा है, कत्ल होने से बंद हो जाते हैं. ये तो एक ख्वाब ख्याल हैं, शेख चिली के सपने हैं, ना करने की बात है.
So on Mirror Now we ask, is capital punishment the only tool for tackling the drug menace? If the Punjab government is truly committed to its fight against drugs, then why can't the state crack down on the mafia and break the nexus with cops and netas? The debate begins now.
Let's get quick to the debate then. Adil Singh Boparai, spokesperson for the Congress party, Sipal Singh, former IG of Punjab Police, Dr. Nisha Khanna, psychologist, also with us this evening, HS Fulka, senior advocate at the Delhi High Court and an MLA for Aam Aadmi Party. AP Savaria, spokesperson for the BJP from Chandigarh, is also with us. Let me go across to Adil Singh Boparai first and ask him this. Is it fair, Mr. Boparai, to come out and put the onus on the centre to come out with a new law when it is clearly the state that is a government that is also failing in cracking down on this drug menace?
Well, Tanvi, first and foremost, I disagree with you that we failed. Since the Congress party has come to power, one of our first decisions was to constitute an STF, a special task force to deal with this menace of drug trafficking. In the past 10 months, there have been close to 400 kgs of seizures when it comes to heroin. There have been more than 16,000 FIRs which have been registered. We have actually broken the back of the supply chains when it comes to heroin, which is commonly known in Punjab as chitta. Now, let me go further. Under the previous regime, under the Akali Dal and the BJP regime, there was a nexus, there was a political, drug and a police nexus which was thriving in the state. The Congress party has been committed to break that nexus. And let me tell you what we've done on this count. We have arrested police officers involved in drug trafficking. We have terminated services of police officers involved in drug trafficking. We have suspended a senior superintendent of police for his alleged links with drug trafficking. This has been happening in the past 10 months. And you must acknowledge, you know, the monumental effort and delivery.
How many police officers?
Sorry, I didn't get your point. How many?
How many police officers have been suspended or sacked? How many of them have actually come back to job? How many of those who were taken on as witnesses in these arrests have actually turned around? Because how many of those people that you're telling me right now who were arrested, how many of these 16,000 FIRs have actually come to fruition, these cases? Because at the end of the day, Mr. Boparai, the fact is that if people get out and get away after the initial action, they're going to continue.
No, please understand, Tanvi, the Congress party is committed. A senior superintendent, an SSP level officer, who is an IPS officer, Moga SSP, has been suspended. 2 DSPs have been terminated. Another DSP has been arrested. So you have to understand, we are making groundbreaking progress as far as tackling this menace is concerned. Now, coming back to the problem, there has to be a holistic approach to the problem. There has to be a deterrence approach. There has to be a rehabilitation approach. And at the same time, there has to be better policing. As far as deterrence is concerned, we have suggested that we need to make an amendment to the NDPS Act, make it more stringent. And that is why we mooted a proposal to the central government to approve our amendment, quay the NDPS Act as far as Punjab is concerned. When it comes to better policing, we have a specially designated task force to deal with drug trafficking. We have a working group which is functioning under the Chief Minister. So there is progress on this count. Thirdly, when it comes to rehabilitation and awareness, we have set up offices in every tehsil in Punjab. We have set up rehabilitation, de-addiction centers. We've given them funds to really address the problem. So there is a holistic progress as far as eradicating this menace is concerned. But having said this, we do acknowledge there is this problem of drug trafficking across the country, but we are committed. Let's understand, we have moved from slogans to action. No government in the past has arrested police officers.
There are people on the streets, Mr. Boparai. If your government believes that you are doing enough, if your government believes you're doing enough, why are there people on the streets? Why have we seen 23 deaths at least? Other reports suggest 30 deaths within 1 month because of drug overdose. Let me take that point across. To AP Savaria.
Unfortunate, but these are cases because of drug overdose. As far as heroin supply is concerned, we've had considerable success in curtailing that supply.
AP Savaria, do you buy what the Congress is telling us? Has the situation improved?
No, not at all. Well, first of all, I must congratulate your channel to take up this very, very important topic, which has grouted Punjab, a very prosperous state, has gone to the dogs due to this drug menace. Well, now, today, I was hearing the Honorable Prime Minister of Punjab, when he took over the reign of Punjab, that within 4 weeks' time, I will finish this all drug nuisance, drug mafia, etc., etc. And today, when we hear that he is, through his cabinet decision, he said death penalty has to be given. I tell you, but death penalty already there in NDPS Act. If the second time somebody dealing with that thing, actually speaking, ma'am, with these 30 deaths within a couple of days, so much ruckus going on into the state and turmoil, the Chief Minister was forced to take this decision, which death penalty, or a death penalty is not the answer. And if you got the intention of my party always is against that this addiction sort of a thing. We want a healthy nation. We are with him. But if he had a clear hands with that thing,
but your party's allies, before this government came in, your party's allies couldn't do anything about it. What's the point of calling an all-party meeting when the previous government, which was there, didn't do anything about it? Everybody admits it. That's why you were also voted out of power. So what I'm asking you today is, do you at least agree that the Congress has done more than the Akalis and the BJP could do in its tenure?
No, I'm coming on to that part of it. That we are with the Congress in that way to eradicate this nuisance. But I tell you, this problem is a very complex problem. This is a socio-economical problem where the involvement of is so big. Even the farmers are involved, paramilitary forces are involved, there are the politicians involved, the police is involved. So in that case, a holistic view has to be taken up in that case, and a dreaded, I welcome from my party and our alliance party that they have made a group of the officers who will be dealing with taking the situation, and they have made a group of the minister who will be weekly progressing in that case, various task forces. But ma'am, this NDPS Act is such an complex situation. I'll tell you, for example, part of it. If today I catch hold of a heroin from somebody, within 48 hours, the police, the investigation agency, is to take from the technical expert what the salt is. But usually, people take about less than, some case, minimum 23 days and 464 days.
Yes, that is what the CAG report found.
70%
the police
people are
often
made free.
The police often takes 90 days to 120 days. But by the way, that report was 2017. I don't know what the record is now under Captain Amrinder's government.
Days.
Let me take these points across to our other panelists. Mr. Fulka, do you agree that death penalty for first-time offenders is actually the way to fight this issue?
Like Mr. Sanvaria had said, the death penalty is already there for the second conviction. Now, I want to ask the Congress that how many death penalties they have procured, or the Punjab government has procured in Punjab till now. There has been many cases of second convictions, but how many death penalties they have procured? Now they want that death penalty for the first conviction, which is a debatable issue. The parliament has to pass it. It is just passing the buck to somebody else. Now, another thing, the Congress says we do not believe in just slogans, we believe in action. And the action of the Congress is kill the addicts. Kill the addicts so that no addicts are left behind. Well, that is action. The Chief Minister has admitted that the drug death have increased in last few days. Now, your channel says 23, but actually this figure has crossed 30. There were 3 deaths yesterday, there has been 1 death today, and every day this is happening.
So they're already
every day this is happening.
So they're already dying of drug overdose. Are they going to be in fear of any death penalty of being caught? That's the big question.
Now let me tell you.
Yes.
Mr. Bopara, just a minute. Mr. Bopara said that they have taken action and removed the SP of Moga.
Yes.
Now 3 months back there were serious allegations against him. They have taken 3 months and only removed him today.
Why do you say it's a joke, Mr. Savaria?
They are totally patronizing.
Why do you say?
Well, patronizing those
Congress is claiming they've acted against the cops.
Such a big thing. There are big sharks available into this
drug. Now tell me if I tell you, the Congress
one
has
officer
very
out of this
smoothly
thing
taken
and
over
pinpointing everything. One officer cannot do like this. This is a joke. We have to take a holistic approach. The bigger people who are the politicians, who I tell you, STF, the Punjab government STF has already named.
Okay, let's hear what Adil has to say about this before we go to our other panelists.
Tanvi, it does not behove of the Akali Dal and the BJP to say anything about it. They are the ones who are responsible for this menace. And let me reiterate, international drug smugglers used to come to Punjab and reside at their minister's residence and were given police protection. This is part of the ED report. Why is the Union Finance Ministry not taking action on this? So the Akali Dal and the BJP really doesn't have any locus standi to talk about it. For the first time, there is a committed government in Punjab under the Congress party which wants to seriously tackle this menace. Mr. BJP spokesperson, you are completely clueless of facts.
No, this is
One at a time, gentlemen.
Tanvi, can I come in, please?
This is exactly what we are talking about. We don't. We're talking about people's lives. We're talking about lives of younger generation. We're talking about lives of 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds.
Can I come in?
Kindly refrain from doing any politics about it. And this goes out to all panelists. Mr. Savaria, hold on for a minute, please.
No, don't do the politics.
Okay. I just want to...
Can I complete my statement?
Yes, 1 minute, Adil. I just want to clarify. There are multiple aspects we have to explore. Let's go one by one. The first question is death penalty really the solution? The other aspect, of course, is breaking this nexus between the netas and the cops and the mafia. So since, Adil, you've raised the issue of breaking that nexus, the allegation from the other side is a couple of officers being suspended or arrested is not really going to bring about a difference. Your response to that?
Preeti, you have to understand, we are taking action against district police chiefs, we are taking action against DSPs, we're taking action against SHOs. So we're really breaking their ranks, we are breaking the linkage and the nexus which was thriving under the previous regime. Point number one. Point number two, when you talk about death sentence, this is not something in isolation. This is a comprehensive approach which we're looking at. We're looking at rehabilitation. We have constituted a special force to indulge in better policing, to look to, catch them, to catch the offenders, to catch them at the source, to prevent them from selling drugs. And then we're looking at deterrence in the form of a stringent law. So we urge all political parties to support us. For the first time, there is a party and there is a government which wants to eradicate drug trafficking. And the BJP and the Akali Dal is the party. You please pick up the data. If drug trafficking thrived, it thrived under their regime. They were giving patronage. We have inherited this menace from the BJP and the Akali Dal. But having said this, we are not in the business of passing the buck. We will eradicate this menace.
Point by point, please. This is not just a political fight. I'm going to quote from the CAG report that came out and was tabled in March 2018. This CAG report said that during the period of 2013 to 17, about 5,000 accused were convicted, 756 were acquitted by courts, of which 532 accused were acquitted on grounds that there was difference in the statements of the witnesses. Now, who are the witnesses in these cases? Because what we are saying, 70% of the accused went scot-free of those who were acquitted because the witnesses changed their statements. These were the investigators, absolutely correct. These were the police officers who were involved in arresting the culprits,
there are two kinds.
Pointing to the nexus between the drug peddlers and the police. Now, my question, one minute please, allow me to go to my other panelists, I'll come back to you. My question to Mr. Sipal Singh is, Mr. Sipal Singh, what has happened to the police of the state? This is the state that cracked down on terrorism, on Khalistanis at one point of time. And now we are talking about police being hand in glove with the drug mafia and the netas.
No, I'd like to first endorse the views of one of the panelists that death penalty is no answer. Neither it has been, even in the case of rape when we made it a death penalty for the minors, have the rape stopped? No. Death penalty is no answer, A. B. No. In the case of Narcotic Drug and Psychotropic Act, there are already a number of very stringent sections of law. They start from 10 years, 20 years. In section 31, they say even 30 years imprisonment. There are very stringent sections of law. And for repeated offences, also capital punishment has been provided, though there were certain indications from certain courts that this should be looked at not as an absolute measure, but very discretionary. Now, under these circumstances, just to have an idea of a death penalty is, to me, seems a first instance that is an eyewash. That let it go Amendment of the Act, as Mr. Fulka has pointed out, will take its own time. You will go to a committee, the committee will formulate certain recommendations, the recommendation will go to the Parliament, after that the amendment of the Act will come. So this is a long drawn out process. Number two, the PD Act itself, the Drug Act itself has been amended 3 times, ever since its inception. It was amended 3 times. Every time the punishments have been increased. Have the drug mafia decreased? No. So punishment is only deterrent if the execution of that particular action is there, if the proper investigation is there, if the accused is punished. As far as the records go, in this case, 70% of the cases in the last few years who have been booked, 70%. They were acquitted for either lacunas in the investigation or nexus, you may call, or what were the reason? Or the investigating officers were not properly trained, or the prosecution was not conducted properly. So 70% of the cases were acquitted.
Yes.
Second, the Drug Act and Psychopathic Act lays down that all the substances which are seized should be sent to the lab within a period of 3 months, within a period of 3 days. What has been done by the Punjab police was that invariably it has been sent from 23 days to 476 days. This is not acceptable in the court of law, because you are taking time even to send the technical examination. 3, when you have got such messed up investigation, you have got such messed up prosecution, obviously there is no deterrent left. There's no deterrent because they are
should
knowing
we
it,
instead,
go away.
Mr. Singh,
as far as the,
instead of coming out with a tougher penalty for the smugglers or the peddlers or the drug abusers, should we instead come up with a tougher penalty for the men in uniform, for the netas, for all those who collude and allow this to function?
Yes, you know, this has been thought of many a time, that it needs a lot of amendment, lot of going to the, we had already discussed in your channel on the rape also, that the people, the police who are found, it is very difficult to prove whether the investigation was botched up intentionally or it got botched up due to lack of their knowledge or something. What is actually desired is that in this case there has to be a stringent action, along with, one gentleman just now pointed to a spokesperson of Congress, along with a holistic approach. What is the holistic approach in this case? The holistic approach is, have we trained our investigating officers? Have we trained our prosecutor? B, is there nexus or not nexus? You have punished some people. One SP of Moga has been punished. Against him, a channel had brought out that he was amassing wealth and he had purchased lot of property, benami property in certain places. You have punished him. Okay, punished his suspension. In his case, there is no question of drug. In this case, even our properties of police officers, every year, we give a property return. In the property return, if it is more than its known sources of income, you could start action departmental or even under anti-corruption laws. But suspension is no punishment as such.
Suspension is no punishment, yes.
I want to submit. Special task force, there is no punishment, suspension. Special task force. Now, special task force was constituted. First, the ED report came in 217 as far as I remember. That was alleging against, that was naming certain politicians.
You are right.
Maybe they were of the Akali party or previous party, they're naming some netas along with some police officer. That particular ED's report led further to constitution of our task force. The task force under Mr. Sidhu that submitted its report, it was lying in a seed cover for quite a number of months. When the hue and cry was raised, this particular task force report then was challenged in the court of law. No, tell me, now it is lying in the court of law. Mr. Purka is an advocate. He will let you know that it will take its own time. You know, legal wranglings will go on. Forget about this particular one. Who have been named will take action against them. There's a nexus, you take action against them. But what about others? You are just catching the peddlers.
Yes.
And this is not their fault.
Are we
but
okay?
Actually, there is
Point
a big
taken, sir. Point taken.
Big syndicate. That syndicate is operating.
Let me just bring in Dr. Nisha Khanna as well. You've heard everybody out, Dr. Khanna. Do you agree that the way the state government is going about it is actually the right way to tackle the crisis?
I would say, I think so. If they are talking about the holistic approach, my approach is totally different. Why these things are happening? It is not only because of the law. Law should be strict. If they are thinking of death penalty, that can be considered. But what on the basic level, the root cause of these things are, you have to understand when you deal with drug addicts, they most have the emotional instability issues. Even they have a lot amount of, I would say, wealth. When they have the wealth, they are from the good family, or that they are not from the good families. Why they are on the wrong ways? Why they are not thinking about using that wealth or using their IQ into a intellectual ways? Why they are spoiling their life? If you will think of a death penalty is the answer, they are not thinking about their health. They are not thinking about their life. They don't have the long-term goals. If they think life is a long-term goal, they don't think to spoil that life, and they will have those drugs. So I believe in spite of that, why not this Punjab government can think of making an helpline for drug addict people, the people who are emotionally unstable, especially the men, even they are having been bullied, the sexual abuse history they are having been. So why the parents should be properly channelized, they should educate about the emotional instability issues. Why when the child is unstable, why the child is unstable, how the parents should educate about that child will not go in such ways, because you should understand this thing, such sort of problems would be there. Even they will resolve it. The corruption is there. We have to deal with whether we want to deal with corrupt people or not. So we should be morally strong. We should be educated about how to deal with such issues. On that level, I would say not only the law will work, the moral policing, even for that the children, the parents' role, the emotional touch to each child is required. Why the child is having money, or even the child is not having money, why the child is not making his or her own career, and why are thinking that okay, I have to spoil my career right now, I have to spoil my life, and I am feeling that elevated with these drugs. Ecstasy is there, and either because of the influence of my I will say peer pressure, I am going to do all these things. You have to understand the basic law is that the emotional things are there. The parents, the psycho education of the parents is required. The psycho education of even the young generation is required. They have a caliber. Why they are not using that caliber in a right way? So I would say, in spite of that, talking about these issues, that we are taking an action on the police level, they have to think about go and reach up to the villages level. They have to teach how the I would say uneducated parents, how they deal with their kids, and how those kids will deal with their parents, how they are making. Sometimes they have the issues of the child is very bright and not able to use the ability in a right manner. So they required all these things. How the employment can be done.
So let's ask the Congress party what is being done on these cases. And I'm also going to quote from the other CAG report that was tabled last year, which said that of the 57 rehab centers or de-addiction centers, 35 drug de-addiction centers were found to be functioning without licenses. Another 5 were not functional at all. These 5 which were not functional, where 7 crore rupees had been spent, were not working because there was no availability of psychiatrists, medical officers, other staff besides essential equipment. So, Mr. Boparai, if you're telling me there is a holistic approach and not just a death penalty law, then tell us what is being done to address this issue.
Well, Tanvi, the CAG reports which you're referring to relate to the period when the BJP was in power.
Yes, of course.
Congress has come to power in April 2017.
But you have to fix these issues.
Are predating our regime. Point number one.
Absolutely.
We are fixing these issues. Nobody is denying.
Don't go on blaming the previous government, my dear Mr.
No, why is the BJP spokesperson constantly interrupting like this? We can't have a debate like this, Tanvi. There cannot be a civilized debate.
No interrupting. If you talk all false things, I'll have to protect. I have to tell the truth. I'm not interpreting it.
The truth is this, exactly this, Mr. Savaria. The truth is exactly what the CAG report found in 2017 and this year, which is all what went wrong during your tenure. So this is the truth. You don't try and defend it because you failed in bringing this under control. Please take onus of it and take responsibility of it.
Today onwards, the debate is today.
The hand in glove with the drug trafficking.
So today onwards,
the country knows this.
Today onwards, Adil Singh Boparai.
You can't run away from this. Please don't interrupt.
Okay, so Adil Singh Boparai, don't do what the BJP usually does, is that blame the previous establishment. Where they went wrong, the country knows about it. So tell me now, these are the failures, these are the problems. What are you doing about it? It's been a year and a half.
Well, let me first correct you, Tanvi. They didn't go wrong. They were colluding with the smugglers. But let me come to your substantive point. We have allocated more than 1,000 crores when it comes towards healthcare and increasing budgetary support towards the addiction sections and rehabilitation centers. We have improved. Why is the BJP spokesperson so ill-mannered to constantly interrupt? This is not your shaka, sir. Please hold on.
No. You are no one to teach me the manners. I know what manners you have got, Mr. Bopara. You have got no power to say that
Tanvi,
way.
can you please
tell
interrupt?
us what
Yes,
the
Mr.
question being asked.
Mr. Savaria.
You are the most
Mr. Savaria. This is your first time on this show, so I'm just going to let you know once at least that on this show we don't speak over each other, unlike other places. So let Mr. Boparai finish. I'll give you your time to rebut. Then you can respond.
Ask him not to accuse.
You will get your turn to respond to it, and then you can challenge his accusations. Let him at least make his point first.
Yes.
Number one, we've increased budgetary support. We have given more than 1,000 crore rupees when it comes to the healthcare sector. We are improvising on de-addiction centers and district hospitals. We are in the process of recruiting more psychologists and psychiatrists, and we have already had considerable success. The health minister is working on this front on a very diligent level. Point number one. Point number two, for the first time in the history of Punjab, you have a dedicated wing which looks at drug trafficking, tackling drug trafficking. An STF kind of a formation never existed, and this was a voluntary measure of the Congress government when we came to power. One of our first decisions was to set up an STF under a DGP level officer. Point number three, which you spoke about, botched up investigations. Yes, under the Akali Dal and the BJP, the investigating officers and the prosecutors were helping the accused persons. That is why we are changing officers at the lower level. That is why we are bringing in a system of better supervision. And that's the reason why district chiefs are being regularly changed. And where we found evidence of district chiefs colluding with drug smugglers, we've taken action. Never before, and Tanvi, I can say this with a certain degree of responsibility, under the Akali regime, even an SHO was taken to task for drug smuggling. We are taking action against SSP level officers, against IPS officers. We are committed, we are sincere. But at the same time, we've inherited a monumental problem. Let's understand this. The CAG reports vindicate that the problem under the BJP and the Akali Dal had reached a zenith. We are cleaning up their mess. We are working on a very, very sincere level. That is why a multi-pronged approach from the police side, from the scientific and the medical side, and we want to strengthen the law for first-time offenders. So that the fear of law is instilled in these smugglers.
Let's hear the other side. Mr. Fulka first, and then we'll go across to Mr. Savaria.
There are 3 points which I would like to make. First of all, Mr. Boparai says, and rightly says, that this drug, there was a nexus between the political leadership and the drug lords, and this drug business was controlled by the politician during the previous regime. Now, Mr. Boparai's Congress government is in power since over 1 year now. How many cases you have exposed? Against how many political leaders you have taken action? Or is it that you have smoothly inherited and taken over the business from the Akali leaders? It looks like that. Now, number two, he says the police officers, they have intentionally spoiled the cases. Now, against how many police officers action has been taken? Now, next, STF, they have appointed, the Congress government has appointed the STF, a honest officer has been made the head of it, there is no doubt about it. But no action on the report. What stops the Congress government from taking action on the STF report? Nobody asked them to go and submit it before the High Court, and like they are first have to take the permission of the High Court before registering a case. This is something very strange. This itself shows that this government also continues to protect the drug peddlers and those people who are sheltering them the same manner like the previous government was doing.
Yes, Mr. Savaria, do you want to say something before we get a response from Congress and then go to other panelists?
Yeah, yes, Tanvi. I am referring to my friend, lady psychiatrist available on the panel.
Yes.
She asked, I am a doctor myself. She asked certain pertinent question that from today onward, I said, I am complimenting you that you are taking this very important topic at the national level debate in a TV. Bopara should work out. I must tell him now, for his sake, I am telling you that these addicted people are falling into various categories. One first category is the person who is tempted to that. He has not fallen to the category of addiction, number one. Number two, a person who was already using the substance for a longer period, number two. And number three, the person who goes to the addiction center time and again, but never get cured. In all those three aspects, we have to see it, as my friend now told, that out of so many de-addiction centers, majority of them are in private hands, and we are without license. Mr. Oberoi, nobody stops you. But do you have got 85 psychiatrists with you? Because drug addiction center has to be run. Because this is a very socio-economical problem. The people may be very poor also, people very rich also. So we are with you. We are not opposing you. We are
right. Okay, point taken.
BJP
point
and
taken.
the Akali government is with you.
Point taken. Quick response from Congress Party. One, on what is stopping you from taking the action on the STF report? How many politicians have you exposed and started the prosecution against? And the second one that Mr. Savaria is raising as far as bringing in one psychiatrist and building up that infrastructure is concerned. Adil?
Yes.
Well, then we have the greatest of respect for Phulka Saab. Let me assure him that since the High Court is monitoring the investigation, there is no need for no more FIRs. We can always file supplementary charge sheets in the existing FIRs. But the High Court is monitoring the investigation, and very soon we will take action on the STF report. This is point number one. Point number two, I think the BJP and the Akali Dal is bankrupt. They have ruined the state. We are taking monumental steps to eradicate this menace on the health front, scientifically, on the police front by setting dedicated wings, and on the legal legislative front by suggesting an amendment to strengthen the law. We are working in the right direction. We are committed. The Congress party has zero tolerance when it comes to drug trafficking, and let me make it very clear, we will deliver. And lastly, as far as heroin supply is concerned, we have dramatically curtailed heroin supply in the country, in the state. Nobody can deny this. The kind of chitta which used to be available, heroin is commonly known as chitta in Punjab, was used to be rampant under the BJP and the Akali Dal. We have dramatically curtailed the supply of chitta. And as far as drug overdoses are concerned, we are working on that front. These are drugs which can also be obtained from dispensaries, which can also be obtained from medical shops.
Yes.
So therefore, we are working on it. Please understand, we have inherited a mess, but there has been progress. To say that there has been no progress is absolutely wrong. There has been dramatic progress.
Actually, you're very right. Your next step will have to be the supply that is coming from legal channels. And the supply that is also seeing more spurious mixes, and the fact that there are now reports emerging of homemade cocktails. Now, the menace is so bad that this is what is happening in that state right now, and this is what the Congress party will have to focus on next. Very quickly from Mr. Sipal Singh. Mr. Singh, do they have rules right now that will ensure they can crack down more strictly when it comes to the law enforcers who are colluding, not just suspension? Should more cops be arrested right now?
I'll like to submit one thing to the spokesperson of the Congress. As of now, definitely it is being monitored by the High Court. As of now. But the Special Task Force had named certain persons. And why? What was there? If certain person was named, why FIR could not be lodged at that time against them? A. B. I am talking other thing. So many deaths have taken place recently. And these deaths, if they have not taken place purely because of the psychotropic drugs, at least there must be some combination of some other drugs. We have got at Bandi certain plants, pharmaceutical plants, which are produces ephedrine, ecstasy, etc., certain medicine for drug purposes. They take those medicine and mix up. And after mixing up, it becomes a very potential, sort of dose. And therefore, certain overdose, as you say, and deaths are taking place. This needs to be investigated properly as to the persons who have died of that particular substance, whether it was purely because of the drug or it was a mixture of this drug along with some pharmaceutical product. 2. 3. I am also submitting to you one thing, that rehabilitation center, as you have pointed out, Mr. Boparai, that out of 72, as far as I remember, there are about 62 centers, which are named centers, which are run by the private organization. Only 10 centers are being run by the government. And out of these 62 centers, as you have agreed, most of them are ill-equipped. They are not well equipped, and some of them are only making money because they get the people who will de-addict you and all. That is what you need to have monitored properly. Next, you have got large number of seized products lying in the police station. Have you ensured that these seized products which were lying in the police station have not again been recirculated outside? Is there any check? I'll tell you why. Because you had decided, not you, I mean whatever committee had decided some time back, that you have got incineration machine, it's a very minor thing, incineration machine at about 6 or 5 places. Out of that, so far, only 2 incineration machines have been set up, which is in respect of those drugs that are seized and not required have to be incinerated or burnt up. Still 3 machines which are to be set up on certain focal points, keeping in view the seizures, have yet not been set up. Next, there's a multi-agency turf battle going on. Some agency in the center says this is we are there. Subsidiary agency in Punjab says this thing. Other state subsidiary agencies say this is sort of turf war, turf battle going on. That needs to be sorted out.
Right.
Then, you have got Pakistan sitting across. Pakistan is having this hybrid proxy war. In addition to infiltration, in addition to sending arms and ammunition,
right.
This is one of their objects, that you make the people absolutely drug addicted in Punjab. So this is another, so this is a multi-pronged, multifaceted has to be done. You are doing it, but it has to be coordinated both at the state and central level, both at the BSF and the Punjab police, both at the social organization, one of the stakeholders, and along with us.
Very, very well said, Mr. Singh.
Saying there's a death.
I was actually going to say just that. This is the time now that they need to stop playing politics over this. They need to stop finger pointing and putting the onus on either their predecessors or on the center. Political parties need to come together and work. These law enforcers need to come together and work. The first thing first, you crack down on those policemen who are turning a blind eye, or who are probably pocketing a part of this entire chain and allowing an entire generation to get affected. My only question to Captain Amrinder Singh tonight will be, please think about this law that you are proposing right now. Of course, it's up to the center at the end of the day, it looks like that. But are you just now using this as just create some noise to play politics? Is the law for first-time offenders and death penalty for first-time offenders really going to help you solve the problem? These offenders are any which way injecting so much of heroin in their veins that they are dying of overdose. They destroyed their lives, they destroyed the lives of their families. That is perhaps, a tougher law is perhaps not going to sort the issue. More rehab centers, proper rehab centers, more psychiatrists, proper services, crack down on the netas. Don't shy away from naming the netas, don't shy away from booking the netas. Don't just suspend police officers, sack them, arrest them, put them behind bars. If you truly and genuinely want to end this problem or at least reduce it, then you need to do a lot more, Captain, than what you're doing right now. Mere seizures of the drugs is not going to help. If the drugs are indeed being sold at the chemist shop without any checks and then are being used and abused, you need to figure that out. What's happening in these rehab centers, you need to figure that out. And then only can you turn around and say that you've genuinely cracked down on the drug menace. We cannot afford to lose more lives. 30 lives lost in 1 month. Absolutely shocking. One even shudders to think how many of other such instances may have gone unreported. Thank you to all our panelists for joining us on this debate. We will continue with our focus on Punjab and the drug menace that continues there even under the new Congress regime.